You have 90 seconds starting now.
Okay, so we had a session about building product vision in a way that doesn't really involve fight and convincing other people to your point of view. So we discussed the difference between dialogue and discussion, where dialogue really is where a person is open-minded to accept somebody else's idea rather than trying to convince the other person to change their idea, right? And we went through an exercise trying to build consensus about the vision for the product, where we basically use this 32 games.
Adding to what Michael has said is, we consider that team collaboration is the aggregation of collaboration between every two members. So if you consider every pair together, we want to understand the relative opinion towards a certain subject between these two members, and the aggregation of the relative opinion between these two members should be the team collective decision. And we applied a certain technique and a game, in fact it's called 7x2 game, to arrive at the product vision and drive the user stories and prioritize them. That's it. That's what we have covered.
Maybe just I still have something?
You have. I'll take that time.
Basically, the idea is that you get people to work on parts of the problem rather than, let's say, completing the whole user story. You just let people complete part of it and then pass it around, right? So that every person contributes a little piece, but in the end, collectively the group establishes all the user stories from all points of view, which are already agreed to, right? So you avoid just going back and forth.
Exactly. I think what he said, we need to sustain the opinion of each other. So if he says something, I shouldn't really question it. I need to support it and build on it. And probably by doing this, we have more mature requirements, which represents a more wider point of view.
Next, how to grow from an agile development. Three topics, right? Three topics. Well, maybe you can describe for us what your topic is. This is always it. This was a combination of what makes a great agile coach and how do you get to be one, and coaching internally versus externally. So we try to draw a distinction between coach and leader, because sometimes they seem to overlap. And we said that coach is really the facilitator of growth and change. And as such, its role, it's concerned with the journey, and it's overt, it's sort of in your face. Whereas the leader is more a quality, it's in the team, it's in the people, it's about the destination, the vision, and the empowerment. And so we looked at some of the qualities or attributes of a great coach.
Sure. Just quickly, patience, good and active listening, someone to be a salesperson, certainly some amount of general knowledge overall, passion, leadership, inspiring, facilitation skills. We talked about were key when we're comparing the coach and the leadership role. The coaches really have to be great facilitators. Some aspect of being a people person, to be personally reflective, to have humility, to be self-aware, and to keep your ego in check, to, as an individual, be a lifetime learner, have good intuition and to be empathetic for others, to have great bartenders, because that's a good conversation about that. I mean, how do we be better bartenders? Some people suggested maybe we should do that at night, try being a bartender. Fearless, honest, create a safe environment, be provocative, to be a model and demonstrate the values, and to figure out ways to challenge people and their teams in a positive way. To question things, never to take things for granted, and really important was to stay in the observer mode, not to draw conclusions about folks, things that were going on.
You're supposed to be a rule bender, so could we bend the time box?
You know how this
happens, cascade effect, and then we're into like the end by the time we finish. Okay, so read the documentation online.
And to that point, if you have notes written
notes, please be sure that they are being posted onto the poster site. They go through an approval process, but they'll be up there. And what are we talking about? How to
help create cross-functional teams.
Excellent. You have 90 seconds.
So I came to this conference with a problem. I have a bunch of embedded C guys, I have a bunch of testers, and I want to get them working together. And so through the discussion we had many things, and there were some key takeaway points that I came away with. First one, facilitating sharing is key. If you don't facilitate and help people to share their knowledge, they won't actively go and check. Very difficult. Cross-functionality can work, and in fact I can prove that point because until 2 months ago I did Java development and a bit of build management, and that was it. Since that time I started writing embedded C, I've written unit tests for C code, I can remember writing Java code, making builds for both Java and C, and I can prove it works, and it works great. Ideally, we don't just want testers and developers working together, we also want the whole of the business. We want our product developers, our product management, that kind of thing, all working together as a team. Pairing is key. If I hadn't paired with some experts in writing C code, no way in hell I'd be able to do what I was doing. Through pairing and working together, it has helped me and it has helped the team develop. Educating senior management is a vital point. If they don't understand why you're doing this, they're just going to say, I don't care, I'm not going to help you, I'm not going to pay for that, I don't see the value. And for the final point, it is hard. Although I'm working with a team of great guys, we still have people not wanting to.
You're like lined up so perfect for the final line
H. Okay, so 11:10. If you were in that session, and you led a session in 11:10, H. If you would please, assemble in this area to be able to prepare. So grab whatever materials you need, please. Okay, so if you're in the 11:10 session and you're presenting, I expect all these folks to be able to present. Somebody from each of those groups. That'd be great.
Encouraging whole team thinking in distributed teams. And one of the things that we talked about, people that had success with co-locating early in the project to build personal relationships before sort of going back to your world and proceeding to work. Finding a way to support impromptu conversations, so knowing the value of water cooler type conversations that happen in co-located teams. Using things like Skype, IM, WebEx, Scrummy was something that came up, tools to support these impromptu conversations. Also supporting non-tech team members in learning tech tools and taking the fear away from learning new technology. Involving the whole team in the stand-up. We talked about the fact that tools can support, but won't fix communication. If there's an inherent problem with communication, you can implement tools, but they won't fix the problem. They might support the people who are already communicating well. 4 hours to keep all teams available to each other. We also found an interesting thing that these problems aren't limited to teams that are physically in separate locations, but also to fractured teams or teams that have problems with silos, and also co-located teams who work in different functional aspects of the project, or work under different managers. They're just kind of in a separate world, even though they're in the same building and possibly in the same pod. So to summarize, I found that all of these issues came down to communication. They all have their roots in communication, and without fixing the communication,